24. Take it back. We're not rolling. What's going on?
What, are you going to come in and give me the word cue and hit cue?
Have you ever seen a Norris movie? No, you wouldn't have seen it.
We've got the piece and it works, and that's fine.
Just that sentence.
You ready?
I'm thinking of an article that was in the paper I just read the other day. It says, I'm the most unrecognized movie star in America.
Let's stop at that point. We'll lay in the picture and then come back and put the rest of the piece in.
And suddenly all the Ethiopians were screaming, Harry, Harry.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again, okay?
She had marks on her face and bruises and so on. And she just said she could not go home. There was no way she could go home.
He has threatened me that if I gave him any trouble, he would kill me.
It's prepared for a 2-machine roll.
She told us in the interview that her grandmother had talked to Leo Ryan the night before he went to Diana.
I'm not stupid enough to fall into the same kind of trap that people who went to Jonestown fell into. If I thought this was anything like that, I wouldn't be here.
You have to wait for me to get to speed. Give us the top. Give us anything. Give us something.
Hi, welcome to West 57 and the CBS Broadcast Center. Tonight we've got 6 stories for you. We begin in Hollywood, where this has been the year to get tough, to go back and try to win the war in Vietnam one last time. Stallone in Rambo, Chuck Norris in Missing in Action. At 45, Norris beat everyone to the punch. His relentless brand of killing and kicking has made him an underground cult hero.
I'm thinking of an article that was in the paper I just read the other day. It says, I'm the most unrecognized movie star in America.
For those of you who don't recognize him, meet Chuck Norris. Action fans have been getting a kick out of him for years. But lately, moviegoers are lining up for his films in staggering numbers. Charles Bronson, Move Over. Clint Eastwood, Watch Your Back. In his latest screen opus, Code of Silence, Norris, with the help of his trusty tank, Prowler, personally dispatches 23 assorted killers and drug dealers in the space of 8 minutes. It's violence with a slapstick mentality, the critics will tell you. But it made Missing in Action the surprise smash hit of last season and transformed Norris from an underground cult hero into a genuine, above-the-title box office star. Missing in Action made $6 million its first weekend, $10 million by the end of the first week. In this film, it's Chuck Norris against the legacy of Vietnam as he single-handedly finds and rescues American prisoners of war. And heaven help anyone who gets in Chuck's way.
Missing in Action, I'm real proud of that movie because Vietnam is kind of a personal thing to me anyway because I lost a brother over there. And the MIA issue is a personal thing because I feel very sorry for the 2,500 people that don't know.
His own story reads like one of his movie scripts. A former Air Force MP and aircraft worker, Norris was the world middleweight karate champion 7 times over before he ever dreamed of speaking a line in the movies.
Think of this. Here I was, a kid who never excelled in any sports in school. I was too small. So I get into karate, and I become a world karate champion. Here's a kid who could not even get in front of a class and give a book report all the way through school, and now I'm an actor.
When he got his chance, he really jumped into it with both feet. His big breakthrough came with Good Guys Wear Black. At the height of the karate or chopsocky movie craze, he convinced a producer to star him in the film, based on his fame as a world karate champion.
You're panicking.
This $1 million picture grossed $18 million. At the age of 37, Chuck Norris's acting career was launched. But even Chuck admits that in Good Guys, he wasn't exactly giving Laurence Olivier a run for his money.
The letters explain what was known between you and Kwang Yin as the Phoenix solution. I couldn't figure out what Major Min was doing, popping in and out of my life. At first, I assumed he worked for them, whoever they were. But of course, they are you, and you are all one.
I was trying as hard as I could. You know, the thing is when I did the film, I was doing the very best. I mean, someone stuck a gun in my head and said, do better. I couldn't have done any better.
Enter Steve McQueen. His former karate student and old friend saved his career with some good advice.
He just said, don't talk unless there's something to say. That's what he said. That makes sense to me, you know. And I don't like dialogue that much anyway, so I'm like him. You know, I'd rather, I can walk better than I can talk. It's not in me to be a Dustin Hoffman or a Laurence Olivier. My ambition and my goal isn't in that direction. I tell you, I enjoy the movies I do. I enjoy doing these movies. I enjoy the action because I'm physical, and I enjoy the basic heroic image that I project that I think is a good image for kids to see.
Is it good for kids to see someone up on the screen who always fights his way out of trouble, doesn't really talk too much, but uses violence really to solve problems?
Well, the difference between violence and action is the philosophy of when you use it. And what I mean there is if I provoke something, and I get into a physical thing because I've provoked it, I consider that violent. But if I'm put into a position where I have no way of getting out of it, except through action or fighting, see, then there's a certain philosophy there because the kids say, well, look, he didn't look for it.
Case in point, here's Chuck minding his own business in his hotel room, not bothering anybody, not looking for trouble. Now, maybe you would call the assistant manager in a case like this, but Chuck has had just about enough. He's going to take care of it himself. The bottom line seems to be, don't push Chuck too far. And whatever you do, don't put your hand on his shoulder. He's firm but polite.
I can go now?
Sorry, this is by invitation only.
Remember what we said about the shoulder?
Hey. Excuse me.
We wondered if the real Chuck Norris was anything like this at home. We asked Diane, his high school sweetheart and wife of 26 years.
What's his temperament like?
Oh, gosh, he is the most calm person in the world. He's just a delight. He truly is. He's so gentle. Yeah. They expect a mass murder or something because he knows karate, but he's truly just so at peace within himself.
In real life or the movies, Norris doesn't have to say much to get his point across. And the audiences love it. Theater owner Bruce Corwin.
The people who come to see a Chuck Norris picture don't have to hear the dialogue necessarily. They want to see the action. They want to see him do his karate on the screen. That's what they're coming to see. They're not coming to hear him say anything from Hamlet.
Audiences, they don't like me being beat up. I mean, the guy can hit you, but I want you to hit him back. and the thing is that that's the way it is, you know. And that's the way society is. If you say, well, let him hit you on one side of the cheek, well, you might not be able to turn the other cheek because it's probably all caved in, you know. And the thing is, so the main thing is to be prepared.
You guys are going home.
We're going home.
Damn right.
See, the thing is, yeah, you can procrastinate and say, gee, I'd like to do this, or gee, I'd like to do that, and never get anything done. that's not what made our country so great. It was men that did act. Men that said, this has got to be done, and I'm going to do it by hook or crook.
You may have heard a little something about our next story. There's a group in Oregon, mostly white upper-middle-class dropouts, following an Indian guru named Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. What you may not have heard is that one of those loyal to Bhagwan has an amazing connection to another cult. Every day at Rancho Rajneesh, the devoted gather just to glimpse their master. He's Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, a self-proclaimed mystic. He made his way to Oregon 4 years ago when he was facing tax evasion in India. He arrived with 8 disciples. 5,000 lined the drive when we first visited last winter. Their numbers growing, and so is their paranoia. What started out a commune is becoming an armed camp. His disciples have changed their names, given Bhagwan 90 Rolls Royces, and their lives. One of them is 32-year-old Shannon Ryan. Her father was Leo Ryan, the congressman killed while investigating Jonestown.
I'm not stupid enough to fall into the same kind of trap that people who went to Jonestown fell into. If I thought this was anything like that, I wouldn't be here. This is what people don't understand, is that they think because I'm here, I must be brainwashed. I must not be knowing what I'm doing. I must have made some terrible mistake. I must be stupid. I don't know what they think. It's a miracle that I'm even here. After being through all what I heard about Jonestown, I was more careful than anybody else would have been, because I didn't want that to happen to me.
It was 6 years ago that Shannon's father walked to his death across this Guyana airstrip. Congressman Ryan had gone to find out what was happening to Jim Jones' followers. He ended up their victim. Do you think that your father's death had anything to do with your decision to join Rajneeshism?
My feeling is that I would have become a Rajneeshi whether or not my father had died. In fact, I wish he was still alive right now, because I think he'd love this place.
I could just see my father going down there and saying, what the hell's going on here?
Another of Ryan's daughters, Pat, lives in her late father's house on Capitol Hill.
I talked to my grandmother just last week, and she told me that my father told her the night before he left that he was worried about Shannon because she's starting to get involved in spiritual things, that she was really looking for something, and he didn't know where she was going to end up.
4 years ago, this was a cattle ranch. Now Rajneeshpuram is a $120 million city with its own courts, mayor, and police force, all serving Bhagwan. News comes from the Rajneesh Times. TV is monopolized by Bhagwan.
And you will become very quiet. And the phone...
005.
And outsiders' movements are monitored at all times by a 150-man security force. The nearest town is 18 miles of bad road away. And that's been taken over by the Rajneeshis.
Just check that out with 26.
Do you feel free here?
I feel freer than I've ever felt before.
There are those who would look at the situation and say, your life is 12 hours a day of work, 7 days a week. You don't get paid for it. It's in the service or the worship of Bhagwan. How can that be freedom?
It can be freedom because that's exactly what I want to do. We call work worship here because it's an attitude towards the way we do it. We're doing it because we love it.
Let me give you a purchase order number off that.
After 12 hours of worship and a session watching Bhagwan tapes, Rajneeshis with money go to the casino. Bhagwan's teachings on money and sex are simple. It's great to have lots of both. Most Rajneeshis have to pay to be here, and the free sex is not so free. Bhagwan tells them that 2/3 of the world's population is about to die of AIDS. Do you follow the rules when it comes to sex here? The rubber gloves, the condoms?
Yes, I do abide by the rules because of the threat of AIDS right now. I don't want to unknowingly give AIDS to anyone else in this community or anywhere else. It's something that you get used to, and we can still enjoy using condoms and rubber gloves and not kissing.
You have a situation at Rajneeshpuram which is similar to the situation you have in any cult, similar to the situation you had at Jonestown. where you have people who've given up their will to a leader. And in a situation like that, anything can happen, depending on what the leader wants.
Win McCormick is a founder of Oregon Magazine and a cult specialist who traced Bhagwan back to India. When he operated there, Bhagwan wanted therapies that bordered on orgies of sex and violence. How manipulated are these people, as far as you're concerned, by the leadership out there?
I think they're very manipulated. Rajneesh, I think, is one of the master manipulators of the era. When he began his career in India in the mid and late 1960s, the Indian press identified him very quickly as an expert in hypnosis and hypnotic induction. He ran a smorgasbord of techniques of altered states of consciousness that ranged from regressive therapy to violent encounter groups to techniques which really do amount to hypnosis. I think that he is a practitioner of mind control.
All these synagogues, temples, mosques, churches, they are all dedicated to the devil, not to God. Because what they have done is not divine. It is sheer murder. They have told you in detail what to eat, what not to eat, when to go to sleep, when to get up. You are controlled absolutely. You are transformed into a robot.
What's happening here is not that we're following blindly anybody. We're learning to take more responsibility and to follow our own instincts and feelings. He keeps telling us over and over again, don't follow me. Follow yourself.
What is it about the Bhagwan that is an attraction? What are your feelings toward him to begin with?
It's like, you can't explain what it's like to be in love to someone who's never been in love before. You can't explain the taste of chocolate to someone that's never tried chocolate. It's just an experience that you can only know by experiencing it. Bhagwan to me is so beautiful. I would give him anything I had. He's so gorgeous.
Do you feel she's being manipulated, used?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like just telling her to wake up, you know, take care of yourself or take control of your life. Don't let other people run it for you. It's easy for my sister and a lot of the other people to just enjoy the good life and the fantasy life that is provided for them. But the more they're isolated in a group like that, the more paranoid they become, and the more they think that the outside person is their enemy.
Now they're carrying guns, including submachine guns, and they're threatening to use them if people interfere with the city they're building out there. And I think there's reason to be very concerned.
How large is their arsenal?
We've talked to some federal investigators and police investigators. They have figures on the amount of ammunition that they have out there. They've told us that they have more ammunition than all the other police departments in Oregon combined, that they have enough ammunition to supply a battalion for a year. So the question is, why do they have this arsenal, and what are they planning to do with it?
The Rajneeshis say it's for the security of Bhagwan, to protect him from all the outside threats on his life.
He was not popular in India either. He was no more popular in India than he has been in Oregon. And they weren't carrying around submachine guns then. It's an evolution in the group. So I don't think it's because of threats to his life. I think it's because the group has been evolving along a more and more dangerous path.
The interesting thing that most people don't see is how this relates to what my father did when he went to Jonestown. What he found there was, as far as I'm concerned, a Christianity cult. Those people were into death. They were into following somebody else, not thinking for themselves, being paranoid, being frightened. And they all committed suicide together because somebody told them to or somebody forced them to. There's nothing like that going on here whatsoever.
One of the rules about cults is that when you're in a cult, you don't know it. They say, you know, we're different. We're different because our leader is different. Jim Jones was crazy. Bhagwan is an enlightened person. It's a very sad case, the case of Shannon, that she can't see the similarity and the danger that she's in.
The nightmare of men who beat their wives, their lovers, and even their children is well documented. Most of us assume that if a woman leaves a violent home, her problems may be over. In fact, they may be just beginning. The startling fact is that about half the abused women seeking shelter in this country are turned away because there is simply no place for them. In some cities, the situation is even worse. For example, last year in Dallas, a shelter called the Family Place took in about 350 women and their children. But because of overcrowding, counselors there turned away over 3,000.
He just punched me down and then just started kicking. I've bothered the kids before. This was the first time. I cannot go on like this. I keep having a dream that I'm going to be stabbed again. Fighting me like a man. He was
The bars keep abusive men out. Inside are 12 to 14 women with their children. Battered women, but somehow lucky.
So he punched
At least they got in.
Where did he cut you? On the side of my ribs, in the back. Now, what I'm going to have to do is to put you on the waiting list to come in for shelter. Once your name's on the list, it could take anywhere from 1 week up to like about 4 weeks before we could get you in here.
What does a woman do when she leaves her home only to find there is no refuge? A woman we'll call Gloria is one of hundreds turned away every month.
I left the house, and I've got the children with me in the car. And I've got a change of clothes and some toothbrushes. And because of the fact that he knows where my mother lives, I don't want to go over there and have her subjected to that. I really don't know what to do.
After 20 minutes of talking with the counselor, she spoke with me.
Our personal life had just deteriorated to the point where he wanted me to leave the house. I guess he decided I really wasn't going to leave unless he did something drastic. So he struck off and hit me. And he knocked my glasses off my face and put a bruise on my face, and I screamed at him, "Stop it."
Were you hurt?
Yes, I've got bruises on my face, bruises on my neck. I've got big old bumps on my head. Yes, I was hurt.
What are you going to do now?
Well, I'm going to have to find a place to stay. I'm not going back.
Later, Gloria met us at a nearby counseling center run by the shelter. With her were her 2 sons, ages 4 and 5.
Don't start crying.
I'm not.
Mommy.
Yeah?
What is that?
It hurts.
This?
Mm-hmm.
Did Daddy whistle you that way?
You know that.
You mean
Right?
it started to bleed?
No, it's just a blister.
Did you have any sense when you left your house that you would not be able to find a place that would take you in?
I really thought that we could go there and they would see my face and they would say, yeah, stay here for, 2 or 3 nights until you find someplace else. But of course, that's not working that way.
You're stuck.
I'm stuck. Hello, Tim. How much do you charge for 1 adult and 2 small children for 1 night?
She doesn't know if her husband is looking for her. She has $250 in her pocket
Okay, do you have
and no
any
idea
available?
where to go.
Don't have any openings. How much does it cost for one night for one adult and 2 children? Do you have any openings tonight? Okay, and how much is it? So the reason I'm calling you is I wanted to find out if you had a friend that I could stay with. I feel very frustrated. I feel very violated. I want to come over to you. I mean, here a week ago, I was living in a nice home with not terrific circumstances. We were having some problems, but I didn't know they were that imminent. Right now, all I'm doing is I'm reacting. I'm not really choosing what I'm doing. I'm forced into these actions. Or am I supposed to call me? So maybe if she calls me right away. There is a lot of fear there. There's a lot of fear about, can I provide for my children? I know he wouldn't hurt the children, but I am fearful for my own safety. Because he has threatened me that if I gave him any trouble, he would kill me.
Why do you smile when you say that?
I have tried to make some people today understand that I think he'd do it, and they look at me with ridicule. Like, nobody's going to do that to his wife.
At the shelter, Gloria is classified Priority 1, a woman in imminent danger. Even so, her name goes on a waiting list with 80 to 100 others.
She's next to the last on our waiting list.
Eileen Perry is the director of the family place.
We're sitting here talking about this, and it's as if this is just day-to-day. This is the business of abuse.
It is. It is. We put 3 women on the waiting list yesterday, and they're all Priority 1.
You're all in imminent danger.
Yeah. On the day before, 5 women were put on the list. The day before, another 5 were put on the list. 6 were put on the list. That's very frustrating for the counselors. It's very frustrating for the volunteers because they can hear the pain. There's not enough shelters. We could fill up
Sit down.
4 or 5 more shelters.
We have a place to stay tonight, okay? Well, with an old friend of mine.
8 hours after leaving her home, Gloria finally found a place to stay, at least for a few days. On the way, in a parking lot, she met her mother and her stepfather.
Oh, honey, you could afford that. Thanks. I hope I'll be able to repay you all this.
Gloria is just one of over 3,000 battered women who will call the family place this year, only to be turned away.
I'm terrified. He has been able to do exactly what I told him he wouldn't be able to do, which drives me from our own home. We've been married for 8.5 years. Within 48 hours, he's got me running out of the house in terror.
This report has no storybook ending. Gloria's family has split up, and she's now trying to get her life in order again. She and her husband have been to court. He's denied beating her, but he has agreed to give her possession of their home and custody of their 2 children, at least for now, until divorce proceedings begin.
Did Daddy whistle you that way?
Can you imagine my mom, raised my brother and I, and you tell her your son's dead, and then you tell her, would you like to give his body away?
From Band-Aid to Live Aid, the outpouring around the world to save the starving in Africa has been extraordinary. Rock stars who asked millions to give are now responsible for making sure that money gets to the people who need it. USA for Africa, the organization behind We Are the World, knew there were doubts. So last June, it put together a 12-member fact-finding team, including musicians, doctors, and money men, loaded up a plane with the first $3 million worth of relief aid, and headed off for Africa. We went along on the Ethiopian leg of the journey.
It was billed as Hollywood Meets the Third World, and the first scene was picture perfect. Harry Belafonte applauded as he stepped off the plane. Marlon Jackson, Michael's brother, determined to do something about the famine. There were roses and tearful hugs. And as if on cue, it suddenly started raining in this drought-stricken country, and African sign of welcome, a reason to hope.
We have for a long time plagued over what it was that we thought we could or should do, and then wondered how effective we would be in doing it. With all of the questions that we had, we decided that the best thing to do was to just go ahead and do it.
So the major donors, I would say, in terms of food, have been Canada.
Doing it began with a day full of endless meetings and maps and charts and numbers. So much to make sense out of when 8 million people are starving.
And on this side, devastation. On that side, some production.
Ken Cragen, the man behind USA for Africa, said we want to make sure the money is spent wisely.
What do you guys think is your biggest responsibility in this week?
Learn. The responsibility this week is to find out as much accurate information, as strong an impression of what is going on here, to see the positive things, as many positive things. The negatives have been certainly well documented thoroughly. We want to see the chances of hope.
But positive signs of hope and accurate information can get in each other's way. As we headed off for the refugee camps, I began to see that we were all going in different directions. There were the newspaper and network reporters trying to find new words for an old story. There was Cragen, the Hollywood agent, trying to keep that story alive for the sake of what he calls his newest client, Africa. And when we landed in the northern town of Mekelle, there were the ordinary Ethiopians sitting in an airport cafe who had been told by their government that these were Caribbean performers. They'd never heard of We Are the World, but listened politely.
That's Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder right there. Stevie Wonder. Do you know who that is? Stevie Wonder.
Cragen was off and running, but when he got too close to a Soviet soldier, the military government stepped in with its own agenda. They called them minders, and they were always with us, editing Ethiopia. Ignore that Soviet helicopter gunship. We weren't supposed to tape it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of activity around here, and I don't think they're used to people having any sort of free mind about walking around.
From that moment on, Ethiopia became a place of minders, and blinders willingly put on. We can't get involved in politics, USA for Africa told me, in the civil war here or Soviet warships, or reports of the government withholding food from some. We're here to save lives. So they asked to see a model camp. Certainly, said the government. That's all it ever planned to show them. This is the Ethiopia the American visitors wanted you to see. The faces of children finally getting better, and the faces of those who still need help.
People thought I was a doctor. They wanted me to examine their baby and stuff, and I'm not a doctor. And, you know, all I can do is pray for them and just hope that somebody disappears. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do.
They're asking help. Help. I think what it is saying help. That's why we're here, though, right? That's why we're here.
And they worked like crazy to help in the way they thought best, by playing to their audience back home.
To come together in some kind of a consensus and some kind of
They posed for one picture after another. There was barely any time for anything else.
And when Irish eyes are smiling, just leave that heart away.
Still, for all their efforts to send a clear message, it kept getting muddled in the realities of Ethiopia. In the relief worker who told our cameras things were fine here, and then told me privately to look around. There are no young men, he said. The government takes them away, because in times of civil war, young men fight governments.
Can you make sense of what it was that permitted this to happen?
Yes, I can make sense in an intellectual way. I can't make sense out of it in a spiritual way and in a humanist way, because it's also cruel.
Also absurd when there were 70,000 tons of grain piled up at the port of Asala. enough food to feed every Ethiopian in need for a month. The government says there just aren't any trucks, or local warehouses, or good roads over which to move it. All that as they speed through, not allowing us to stop till we reach a Greek freighter offloading grain. Another positive sign of hope diminished when the ship's captain tells us privately he was forced to wait offshore for 27 days because other vessels get priority, and they're carrying artillery. That is Ethiopia. It's impossible not to feel overwhelmed by the complexities and somehow duped by one's own decency.
I've got to ask you what the cynics would ask me about this. They'd say, well, terrific. We fed these people while they were getting arms from the Soviet Union. We kept them fed.
Mm-hmm. So what? The Soviet Union didn't create poverty. It might seek to do things in terms of its own ideological agenda. But all the things that exist in the world, Ethiopia's been here for 3,000 years. It didn't happen yesterday.
One of the few spontaneous moments in this well-orchestrated trip came when we landed by mistake in the middle of a village and were surrounded by children reaching out and shouting salam, welcome. At times like this, you find yourself thinking that USA for Africa is right, that the only two facts that matter are that these people are hungry and need help. Marlon Jackson would later describe this like some scene out of the movies. And in a way, that's what USA for Africa had been trying to find all week. That afternoon, the group was taken to see an airdrop, the only way to bring food into remote areas of Ethiopia. There they found what they needed to make a happy ending.
Not bad, huh? Not bad at all.
Nice. Good timing.
It's good to see it's getting here.
Yeah, sure is. Yeah. If anybody was wondering whether the U.S. stuff is getting in, it's right here.
It is. Let's send that message home.
Right. Any questions? We just answered it.
But as the hungry scrambled across the runway to gather the spilled grain, Cragen's words that first day about getting at the truth kept coming back. The truth is, you leave this place uncertain whether your dollar will make any difference in the long run, while reaching into your pocket to hand over another. At one point, we began taping a soldier stealing food meant for the civilians. When the minders saw us, they sent in a National Guardsman to stop the thief. Men fighting over a gun, while thousands around them groveled for grain.
Two weeks ago, the mother of actor John Eric Hexum sued 20th Century Fox for wrongful death, holding them liable for the accident that killed her son. What follows is not that story, but the story of how John Eric Hexum lives on.
Okay, one more rehearsal, boys. Let's go.
I don't really care. I don't worry about it. I'm having a fun time, and I like this character a lot, and I'm happy. And they pay me a lot of money, but that's not important.
Good, good. Fantastic.
Cover up. Saturday night. Check your local listings. I know I will.
What most of us knew about John Eric Hexum was that he was America's latest hunk. Beefcake and biceps, beginning to achieve the fame that only Hollywood can bestow. On October 11th of last year, while on the set of his TV series Cover Up, John Eric picked up a .44 caliber pistol loaded with blanks. Not realizing the danger, he pointed it at his head and pulled the trigger.
At 7:31 on October 18th, John Eric Hexum was declared dead. Mr. Hexum was transferred to a Northern California hospital at 1:15 this morning, where at his wish and the wish of his family, his heart, kidneys, and corneas were donated for transplant purposes.
Yes, 2 patients will be the recipients of corneal transplant, 2 patients will receive kidney transplants, and 1 fortunate patient will also receive a heart transplant.
But have you identified any of these people, or can you identify any of them?
We do know who the heart recipient is, but he prefers to remain anonymous.
Anonymous? With John Eric Hexum's heart beating inside him, not a chance. The press was all over it, following Hexum's body to the transplant hospital. This would be one of those rare times when the donor's family and the recipient would come to know each other. Within hours, the press had a name. John Eric's heart now kept the blood flowing in this man, 36-year-old Michael Washington. A Vietnam War hero, he was twice wounded in action and received the Bronze Star for valor. He lives in Las Vegas, where he runs an advertising agency and another small but lucrative business.
Swingin' Susie's Escorts.
Swingin' Susie is a licensed escort service. It's been licensed since 1975.
Sure, it's $125 for 1 hour and $175 for 2 hours. And I can have a nice young lady to see you in about 20 to 25 minutes.
People call here for companionship, and we send out escorts.
What do you mean by companionship?
Companionship such as shows, dinners, just to talk to. We have businessmen that come in here in large conventions, and they like female companionship.
Would you like to see a young lady?
You've been covered in the media as a pimp. What do you think of that? Are you?
Of course not.
What do you think of that whole thing?
Well, that's just something for the media to expand on, simply because escort services come with that, I guess they come with that, their background.
In the 4 weeks it took to recover and return home to his son, Michael had become a minor celebrity. Everyone knew whose heart beat inside him, including Michael. He found out from a floor nurse just hours after the operation.
So she says, do you remember the article, ever reading the article about an actor who shot himself with a blank in an accident? So I said, yeah, I did. I did remember reading that. I read, you know, most about all of it. He said, well, you have his heart.
So Michael knew. That knowledge and the heavy publicity surrounding the transplant would only add to what was already an emotionally charged situation.
I mean, can you imagine my mom, you know, raised my brother and I, and you tell her your son's dead, and then you tell her, would you like to give his body away? I mean, nobody wants to be in those shoes. Nobody. So it's a very, very hard thing to confront. I think we have a lot of ritual about death.
Gunnar Hexum is John Eric's older brother. Ironically, he teaches emergency medical techniques at the University of Massachusetts. This is the first time he's spoken out since his brother's death.
You know that John Eric was on a respirator for a week, 6 days. And so we were there with him nearly all the time. And my mom and I just carried on several conversations that there is a family someplace that was like us, and they need our help. We have something to offer. Let's give it, and let's give it without any other expectation.
John Eric was a very active person. So what we don't want to do is lay around and get lazy, because that heart is used of a lot of action, a lot of exercise. He was in good physical conditioning, and so we want to maintain that. I'm alive because of him. So now I want to know about John Eric Hexum. So now I'm asking questions. I'm sending my mother to the store to buy books, to buy this, to buy that. I want to know about this guy now.
Well, my dad left us very early, and My mom needed to work 2 jobs. She was a secretary and a waitress for many years and very long hours. And it was always a struggle. I mean, spaghetti and ketchup was the norm, and it was some variation on that theme.
My mother raised 3 kids, 3 boys, by herself. My father was in the Navy. He was a career man. He was always gone. My mother, you know, she struggled. She cleaned houses at one time.
You feel connected to him?
Yeah, I feel connected. I feel, now I'm watching his TV programs in the room. And, you know,
You watched Cover Up in the hospital room?
Yeah, and it just brought tears in my eye. That because of this man, right, I'm alive today. You know, and it becomes real personal. If she was here, the mother or the brother was here, I feel like part of their family.
Every heartbeat for Michael is a reminder that a part of him belongs to John Eric. And he desperately wants to meet the Hexams to learn more about him.
I understand those emotions, and I think if I was Michael Washington, I would want to do the same thing. Would it be helpful for him or helpful for us? I think it would be way too painful for me.
I don't know, it's painful for me. It's painful for me to know that I received the heart of a tragedy.
I wish Michael Washington the best, but I want Michael Washington to live his life, and I want him to never forget John Eric.
Every time I see his picture, every time I hear his name, it's like he's a part of me.
John Eric Hexam's last story had one tragic ending and 6 happy ones. One of his kidneys went to treat a 5-year-old boy, the other a 43-year-old grandmother. Both corneas were used, one to a patient who would have gone blind without immediate transplant, and his skin was used to treat a 3-year-old with 3rd-degree burns. And of course, there was his heart. That's it for West 57th tonight. Thanks for being with us. Here's a look at some of the stories we have coming up next week.
The porn business is booming. People now take this stuff home. They rent the movies, they throw it in the video cassette machine in the bedroom.
Every person that buys a VCR, the first trip they make is to the video store to get an X-rated movie.
You don't have to hide to watch them anymore. It's acceptable.
These kids, some of them sit at computer terminals 8 hours a day. They've receded into a computer world.
Okay, we have connected. I have to go through the network now to get to the computer.
If I break into your computer system, how are you going to find me out? Think about it.
Covering means when you take a song, let's say, by a black artist, but a white performer sings it. And it started because down in the South, black performers couldn't perform on radio, so they'd have white singers sing their songs. But what happened was these songs were terrific, and people started making tons of money, but the black artists who wrote the songs and originally recorded them never saw a penny, and to this day.
Fools rush in where angels spare the tread, and so I come to you, my love, my heart above my head.
Someone can always say, man, I almost got robbed. But I can't say that. I can't say I almost got robbed. I got robbed.
When you say Martin Short to a lot of people, they don't know what you're talking about. But if you say Ed Grimley...
Tomorrow was my triangle lesson. And to be unprepared would seem hardly decent, you know. Check in with meteorologist Randy Jackson for the Piedmont's most accurate weather forecast. Coming up on News 2 Tonight. Next.